planting bare root fruit trees is really quite simple. We're getting ready to plant this Loring variety of peach here in our orchard of our studio garden. And we received this in the mail. We ordered it in mail order. If the roots are dry whenever you're getting ready to plant your bare root fruit trees, it's a good idea to soak them in a tub of water for about 30 or 40 minutes. And before you plant, it's important to come in and trim away any broken or damaged roots. You can see this one's all skin up here. So we're going to make a cut right back there. And right back here we've got another broken root. So we're going to cut it off as well. Make another cut right there on that damaged root. And that really looks pretty good. Select your site for your fruit tree in an area that is completely in full sun and has plenty of room. There's lots of room away from some of the other trees or buildings or anything like that. And we're just going to put it in the ground here. Be sure and loosen up an area of soil about twice the size of the hole that you need to dig to fit the roots into. But I've already got this loosened up quite a bit. I'm just going to scoop out some shovelfuls of the soil here. And one thing to remember about peaches is that they are self-pollinating, or they are self-fertile, self-fruitful. So we don't really have to have another variety for any kind of pollination, any kind of cross-pollination. They will fertilize their own flowers and produce fruit on their own. Now, if we wanted to extend our season and have fruits ripening throughout the summer, we could plant some different varieties that ripen at different times. One thing that's important to remember when you're planting the tree is to try to get the plant in the ground at about the same ground level that it was growing in the nursery. Right here you can definitely see the soil line where this tree was growing in the nursery. All the roots coming out below there. But we're just going to try to get that level pretty close to where it was in the nursery bed. I'm just going to have to dig just a little bit more, get it a little deeper in the ground here. And when we put this in the ground, we want to make sure all these roots are arranged in an outward direction. You don't want to really bend them around and around. You don't want to do that. You don't want them girdling themselves in the hole. If you have any that are too long, just go ahead and snip those off. Then we're going to start working the soil back into the hole here. Again, we're keeping in mind where the ground level was, where the tree was growing in the nursery bed. We're just going to firm this in. It will settle a little bit. Now with some of this extra soil around the outside, we're going to make a little basin or like a little moated area. And when we do this, this will help that water whenever it rains or whenever we water the plant, soak in and water the tree very well. So it's almost like a little moat around the outside here. We'll just kind of firm that up. And we'll definitely water the tree in, settle those roots. And after we've watered this in, if it looks like it's settled a little bit, we'll come back and add a little bit more soil. The tree will also probably sink a little bit more into the hole here. We'll water that in really well and probably come back in an hour or two and just soak the roots of this tree again. The next step that we're going to do is add some mulch. Got some pine bark mulch here. And we'll put this around about an inch or two depth. And we're not going to really pile it up on the stem. When it comes to getting the bark or the mulch close to a tree that you've planted, think more of like a bagel instead of a volcano. You don't want that mulch up on the trunk of the tree. Now, this next step that I'm going to do, I'm May look somewhat drastic or cruel, but I'm going to come in about knee height, about 18 inches off the ground, and I'm going to cut away the tree. Now the reason we're doing that is because we want the branches to develop at this point and sort of grow into sort of a bowl shape. We can train those from this point, and the bowl shape to those branches will allow us to get to the fruit easier, to pick the fruit, and it'll give an open center that will be flooded with sunlight to help produce those peaches. Well, the next step I'm going to do is put this wire cage around here. We'll put some stakes in the ground to hold that in place to keep the rabbits from coming up and nibbling on the bark. And another good thing about cutting the tree off this short is that it makes it less of a target for any of the bucks in the fall when they're in their rut and they're out rubbing on the trees. They just don't want to get down that low and scratch on a tree that small. They prefer a little bit taller trees. So again, it's going to be really important to keep the tree well watered. A good general rule to follow is to water it once a week the first year and at least once a month for the next 2 or 3 years. And in about 3 years, we should have some nice peaches.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. You can also find more recent videos on our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.